Good morning, Marianas. I'm Troy Torres.
And I'm Danielle Baza.
It is Thursday, the 14th of July, 2022. Happy birthday to my gay best friend, Gerald Lujan. When we come back, we'll bring you top stories from the Guam Daily Post today and our agenda at Kandit News.
Kandit, The Point, and the Guam Daily Post are proud to present another Platform 2022 debate. Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio and Lieutenant Governor candidate Sabrina Salas Matanani. Phil Leon Guerrero and Montesilva Tyron will present topics and issues of concern to every Guamanian. July 20th at 6 p.m. everywhere. Broadcast, simulcast, and webcast on Facebook, Kandit News, and on the air at 93.3 FM and on KGTF. Platform 2022 from Kandit, the Guam Daily Post, and 93.3 The Point.
As a defense attorney, I've represented many people who, if they weren't poor or they had received a higher education, may have taken a different path. As senator, I will propose a scholarship for those whose struggles are less academic and more financial. Let's keep our university full, not our prison. I'm Thomas Fisher. I not only approved this message, I wrote it.
Paid for by Tom for Guam, Drake Diaz, Treasurer.
When our political forefathers and foremothers laid the foundation for the Commonwealth, they dreamed of greater opportunities for our people.
In 1975, when nearly 80% of the people voted for Commonwealth, they too dreamed for a better life, for themselves and their children.
Nearly 50 years after the election of hope, we have forgotten how to dream like our ancestors did.
They dreamed of taking pride in being self-governing under the stars and stripes.
They dreamed of new opportunities to make a life in these beautiful islands. Today, abandoned buildings remind us of foreign investors who rushed in to make a quick buck, who then left us with empty buildings, monuments to forgotten promises.
We feel shame for a Commonwealth administration that's being investigated for corruption.
If we are to be the islands of hope and opportunity that our forefathers dreamed of, if we are to regain our pride in being self-governing under the stars and stripes, we need to be courageous enough to dream again. In the coming weeks, we will share with you our dreams for our beautiful islands. My running mate, Layla Fleming Staffler, and I will also share with you our plans to turn those dreams into reality. Layla and I invite you to make this journey with us.
We humbly ask for your vote. Let's make our collective dreams a reality in the Sablon Staffler administration.
By doing so, we will bring back pride in our Marianas.
This message is approved and paid for by the committee to elect Christina Sablon and Layla Staffler.
Welcome back. In a story by Jolene Tovis in the Guam Daily Post, $10 million in federal funds will be used to fund the educator pay raise this summer, and another $8.5 million for a special one-time retention payment will be in the hands of some GWA staff at the end of this week. The Guam Department of Education received word last week that the U.S. Department of Education approved the request to reallocate American Rescue Plan funding to cover the cost of the Educator Pay Plan, or EPP, adjustments until September 30. This would cover the pay increase that was approved for all individuals under the EPP from May 23, 2022 until the start of the new fiscal year. From October 1, the increase is expected to be paid from local funds, said GDOE officials in a release. Outgoing Superintendent John Fernandez was thankful for the approval as it provides a short-term solution to fund the pay raises.
In a story by Emmanuel Herediano for the Guam Daily Post, the medical referral program is a resource of last resort, Commonwealth Health Care Corporation Chief Executive Officer Esther Munia said in a media conference Monday. She and CHCC Chief Financial Officer Perlita Santos provided an update on the medical referral program since it was transferred to CHCC from the Office of the Governor. The transition took effect on October 1, 2021 through the fiscal year 2022 budget, or Public Law 22-8, which designated CHCC's CEO as the expenditure authority of $15 million in combined funds from local appropriation and American Rescue Plan Act monies.
In a story by John O'Connor in the Post, Eagles Field in Manilao is still the preferred site for a new medical campus, although there continue to be community concerns about the proposal, said Guam Memorial Hospital Authority Administrator Lillian Perez Posadas on Wednesday. The proposed site, which is under federal control, contains property claimed by a number of ancestral landowners. Whether these landowners will eventually see the land returned to them has been their ongoing concern, although current federal law would appear to make that impossible. But it's not just the original landowners who have issues with the site. Doctors have also voiced concerns, according to Perez Posadas. Quote, they've set up their clinics and a lot of them live in Tumuning, and if they get calls for an emergency in Manilao, they think it's a distance from their perspective, especially if a patient really needs an emergency intervention, Perez Posadas said.
In a story by Nick Delgado in the Post, Joey Allen Afaji Terlahi was denied his request to have the superseding indictment filed against him dismissed in the Superior Court of Guam. Terlahi, a former Department of Corrections Deputy Director and local court marshal, stands accused of exposing a woman to a risk of serious bodily injury at a barbecue in 2017 and ignoring and abusing his position as a government official in relation to a crime. The defense contends that the Office of the Attorney General did not have enough proof to prosecute, and the statute of limitations period expired to charge him with felonious restraint as a third-degree felony and 2 counts of official misconduct as a misdemeanor. Judge Alberto Tolentino filed his decision and order denying the motion to dismiss and ordered the prosecution to pay for Terlahi's attorney's fees and other costs associated with the filing of the motion. The court sanctioned the government for failing to serve Terlahi with a copy of the Bill of Particulars. Judge Tolentino also denied the government's request to place a protective order on the police reports in the case. The court will set trial for a later date.
These are your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. On Kandit today, we'll present to you documents that show more sweetheart contracts for Torres campaign officials in the CNMI. There are also new filings in the ongoing GWA-Ukudu land scam against Cortec International. And our top story, Congressman San Nicolas' continued support for essential worker pay and a call for the government of Guam to create essential worker pay from ARPA funds.
Get these in-depth stories on CandidNews.com and subscribe to daily news from the Guam Daily Post at postguam.com.
As a friendly reminder, there continues to be the special art exhibit at the Isla Center for the Arts, commemorating about 25% of the known works of the late artist Adriano Baza Pangilinan. Also, next Wednesday at 6 p.m., July 20, Kandit, The Post, and The Point will be co-presenting Platform 2022, the Lieutenant Governor's debate, right here in our studios. Please join us in watching Lieutenant Governor Joshua Tenorio in his debate against Sabrina Salas Matinani. And then 2 days later, on July 28, the Guam Medical Association will be hosting its own debate, its own gubernatorial debate among the Democratic contenders for governor, Governor Lulian Guerrero and Congressman San Nicolas. Kandit will be covering that live as well. Stay tuned for the development of a new Kandit show regarding Filipinos on our island and Filipino politics in the Republic of the Philippines. We now ask you to join us in turning our attention to 93.3 FM The Point, The Ray Gibson Show, also live on Facebook at The Point Guam. For Kandit News, I'm Troy Torres.
And I'm Danielle Baza.
Have a wonderful and blessed day.
Kandit, The Point, and the Guam Daily Post are proud to present another Platform 2022 debate. Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio and Lieutenant Governor candidate Sabrina Salas Matanani. Phil Leon Guerrero and Monasilva Tyron will present topics and issues of concern to every Guamanian. July 20th at 6 p.m. everywhere. Broadcast, simulcast, and webcast on Facebook, Kandit News, and on the air at 93.3 FM and on KGTF. Platform 2022 from Kandit, the Guam Daily Post, and 93.3 The Point.
As a defense attorney, I've represented many people who, if they weren't poor or they had received a higher education, may have taken a different path. As senator, I will propose a scholarship for those whose struggles are less academic and more financial. Let's keep our university full, not our prison. I'm Thomas Fisher. I not only approved this message, I wrote it.
Paid for by Tom for Guam. Drake Diaz, Treasurer.
The Jones Act is a 1920 law justified on national security grounds as a means to bolster the U.S. maritime industry. It restricts domestic shipping to vessels that are U.S. built, U.S. owned, U.S. flagged, and U.S. crewed. However, this law boosts cost by banning foreigners from competing and forcing Americans to purchase ships that are up to 8 times more expensive than those built in other countries. The result is higher transportation costs. Shipping oil from Texas to the Northeast, for example, costs 3 times more than importing oil from Africa. Ultimately, consumers foot the bill. In addition, higher shipping costs push freight from ships onto other sources of transportation, such as trucks, which means more traffic and pollution. Meanwhile, this blatant protectionism has failed to benefit builders of ships in the U.S., whose production is less than 1% of those in China and South Korea. Domestic builders have seen over 300 shipyards close since the early 1980s. Jones Act defenders claim the law ensures adequate U.S. ships during times of war, that during U.S. deployments during Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm, foreign-flagged commercial ships carried twice as much equipment as their U.S. counterparts. In fact, the U.S. was so desperate for shipping that it twice requested the use of a cargo ship from Moscow. Both requests were denied. So the Jones Act has failed to achieve its shipbuilding and national security goals while driving up costs for consumers. It's time for this outdated, costly, and ineffective law to be repealed. It's time to end the Jones Act.